Hi, I'm Dave Edwards, back with more Evernote tips and tricks. It is part of my series here on YouTube dealing with productivity issues. I hope that you would subscribe to this series of videos and then you won't miss any of my episodes. Today, we're going to talk about how I use my client notes. So if you are one of my clients, I keep detailed notes about the conversations that we have, the things that you want to work on and me as your executive coach, the things in which I think I can help you most with. Well, I keep track of all of those conversations. And because sometimes I want to share one of my notes with my clients so they see all of the progress that we made, as well as sharing with them the tips that we talk about, I want to export my notes and distribute my notes to my client. If I'm in a meeting, I might be charged with taking notes for the group, and I want to instantly send those notes off to my clients. I want to send them off as PDFs. So I want to show you some of the tips that I use to make that all possible. So let's say I am assigned to take the notes from one of our organization's planning meetings. Quite honestly, I take notes at every meeting I'm at. In fact, sometimes people just ask me to send them their notes, even though I'm not formally assigned to take notes for the meetings. This is just one way that I keep engaged and I keep organized by always taking meeting notes. So it's very simple for me. If the whole group wants me to send them their meeting notes, I can. Or if, let's say, a member of our group is absent from a meeting, we want to catch them up, I can very simply send them a copy of my notes. Now, it depends on the meeting. Sometimes I just bring my laptop and I type this up as I go along. Occasionally, you will find a meeting where people don't appreciate it if you open up your laptop. Or let's say, for example, we're having a lunch meeting. I'm less likely to open up a laptop at the table at lunch. But if we're in my office, your office, or at a planning desk, I'm quite likely to open up my laptop and just take these notes contemporaneously. If not, I will scratch notes out on paper. Now, my handwriting is so horrible, it's almost impossible for me to share that with anybody and have them make any sense of it. So frequently, even if I've taken notes by hand, I will later transcribe them into a document just like this. So typically, I like to title my notes with the year and the date, and then what the purpose of the meeting was all about. I like to make note of who was attending the meeting. I'm a big believer in agenda items, so I will typically, particularly if it's a meeting that I'm calling, I will send out an agenda in advance. And quite frankly, all I will tend to send out at that point in time is just this information, and if we're meeting via a teleconference, I would probably include the link of the information here. So that will continue to reside at the top of my note. But then once we're in the meeting, I will take each agenda item and I will highlight it, and then I will make any pertinent notes that occur in the conversation. So you see this is from agenda item number 1, this is from agenda item number 2, and it could go on, but we'll just pretend that we never got around to those subjects for some reason. So that's the first part and second part of my notes. I then always list the assignments. Who is responsible for doing what? This is accountability. And it holds me accountable for things that I'm supposed to do. And what I will do is, following the meeting, is I will just highlight this item and then I will copy it, and I will automatically put it in my task list, which currently resides in Nirvana. Now, I know that you're going to say, well, Evernote has its own task feature, and I'm certainly aware of it, and I am playing with it, but I haven't migrated everything over into Evernote. So, if this was a task that I was going to keep within Evernote, I would simply just insert it as a task item and it would reside there. But for now, I don't. I just copy it and I paste it into Evernote. It may not be quite as efficient. It's just what I'm used to. So here's what Mary's going to do, and here's what Bob's going to do. If we've set the next meeting, I will list that here. And in this case, the date of the next meeting, and that I will initiate the Zoom call. So that's pretty much it. And this would reside in Evernote for the next meeting. I'd be able to bring this up, and I'd be able to see what we were all supposed to do. And then, if we return to this discussion item, I can see what we've already discussed about this topic. So that's pretty cool by itself, but I want to show you a couple of other really cool things. First of all, see this button called Share? Here's what happens. You go to Share, and now I can make this a shareable link. Let me show you one other cool thing that you can do. So now you've completed your note from the meeting and you want to share it, but you don't really want to share it as an Evernote note. But what you can do is you can come over to File and you can export your note as a PDF. So once you do that, it opens up this dialog box. And as you can see, you've got a number of options. You can designate the size of the paper. If you want to make it legal or some other size, you can. You can decide if you want to send it as a portrait or as a landscape document. Do you want the default margins or not? Do you want to preview your PDF, which would then look something like this? Or do you want to simply export it? And of course, you can export it into any folder or desktop that you might like. I find this to be a very effective way of handling notes and being able to share them with others. Well, I hope you found that to be helpful. If you've got any questions about Evernote that you think I can help you answer, please shoot me an email. Or you can just put a comment below in the comment section, and I'll be very happy to help you out if I can. And I might even use some of your questions on future videos. Evernote is really key to my productivity. And, I've been looking it up actually, and I found out that I've been using Evernote pretty consistently for about 10 years now. I've always been interested in researching the best ways of being productive. And one of the cool things that I did, really at the request of one of my coaching clients, was that I started researching what worked for people. Believe it or not, there's a lot of academic research on productivity. And I also talked to people who I consider to be top of the game with productivity tips and tricks. And I wrote an ebook. It's called The Top 20 Research Tested Productivity Tips. And I'd like to send you a copy. It's absolutely free. So what do you have to lose? Go to my website, daveedwardsmedia.com. Go to the contact section, fill out the information, or if you prefer, just send me an email to daveedwards at outlook.com, and I'll be very happy to send it off to you. In the meantime, I want to thank you for joining me today. I'm Dave Edwards.